What's up, guys? It is Cross here, and today I'm going to be doing my beta Diablo 4 class tier list. I just thought I'd do this real quick. I'm not going to show like gameplay or anything. I'm just going to go into it. I did get the chance to play every single class most of the way through the main story quest line. I was running out of time and just didn't want to get them all to 25 just because I don't want to overplay this beta and don't want to burn out on it, I guess, and have bad feelings because it is a beta and I don't want to get too invested in how the game is now and it could change. But we're just going to get right into this. It starts off with the Barbarian. I do want to say here, I don't think there is any D tier classes, even though I know the community is saying, oh, well, they all suck to some extent. But I was able to find and watch some people who had builds that seemed to work for every class. They just might not have been S tier. I'm going to put Barb in C, and the only reason why I didn't put it in D is because I did a Thorns build and basically didn't have to play the game at all. It just kind of killed everything, and the only thing it was really tough on was like bosses, but even then I just used some skills and was able to just kill the bosses. I mean, it wasn't like hard or anything. I played on the hardest tier that we have available to us, which is tier 2 or veteran or whatever they call it. But yeah, no, there was nothing too hard there about this. Druid, I'm actually going to put in B tier. I enjoyed the Druid. I know a lot of people are saying it might be worse than Barbarian, but I have it higher up than the Barbarian. I use that Pulverize or whatever, and even though you have to build Spirit to get to that, and it can kind of suck because there isn't really good skills that do damage for building. However, when you get the Overpower going and the stacks for that, it can clear a lot of stuff and do a lot of damage, and I actually enjoyed it. I know there's like an elemental druid, and I watched some people play that, and it didn't look like it sucked too horribly. The barb really to me just was not fun at all and seemed to be the worst class in the game completely. Necromancer 100% is going to be S tier. It's just so overpowered. It's so fun. There's a Blood Mist build. I didn't get the chance to play it, but after watching that, it's quite clear that Necromancer is way up there within that S tier. It's just survivability-wise, minion-wise, damage-wise, everything about it seems to just completely wreck. The build I was doing was a Corpse Explosion without the Blood Mist. Basically, my minions, when they attack stuff, corpses would fall on the ground, and then I could just sit there and blow those up and pretty much murder any boss or any pack of mobs or anything at all. So it's kind of crazy to see just how overpowered that class is. Rogue, I'm going to put in A tier. I did enjoy the Rogue. I did a bow build. The build I had, I switched between two skills. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but they basically made my shots explode and do some stuff on hit, and I just kind of switched between the two modifiers there. I think one was like a purple shadow skill or something, and the other one was like a green poison skill. It felt really good. Wasn't like super overpowered, especially against bosses. It just kind of was slow, but since it's ranged, you can pretty much just kite around and not die and kill stuff still. I did watch Barricade. He was streaming and playing Rogue, and he probably would have Rogue up here at S tier, and the build he was playing was really cool. It was a melee build, and for melee it was actually pretty strong, using daggers and stuff, so that was kind of cool. And then Sorceress, I'm going to put all the way up at S tier again with the Necromancer. I think it's behind the Necromancer. I don't think it's quite at the level that the Necromancer is, but it is definitely super overpowered. Again, with minions, you can do the Hydra, and they just kind of burn everything down and do everything. Again, this is all so early game that I don't think it really matters whether we think it is S tier or not, because I mean, what's S tier within the first act could easily move all the way down to C or D tier by the end of the game, if it's just not having a damage output that it has now. However, I don't see that really happening. I'm really worried though, because I could see that instead of bringing, like these classes up here, I could see it be something where, Necromancer gets nerfed and Sorceress gets Sorceress gets nerfed. And then maybe they it looks more like this or something like that, where these all get brought down, except for Rogue. Rogue would probably be here. So these all get brought down a level. through nerfs, and maybe the barb moves up a little bit more. I don't foresee Druid becoming A tier. His play style is just boring, and part of this list is more on how much fun it is to play to. Clearly, doing more damage and being able to clear content faster is a lot more fun. The Druid, even if he was more powerful, I don't think it's going to speed up his gameplay. And I know Asmongold made the comment of with these melees, specifically these two, it having to be a builder spender, and with that, it's too slow. Like with the Sorceress, for example, her mana regen and everything, it really becomes a non-issue when you have the Hydras, because you just have to cast, put them down. It doesn't cost you anything. After that, the Necromancer, his minions are out. Corpse Explosion, for some reason, doesn't cost any mana at all, which I wonder if that's something they would change, and that would definitely knock it maybe even down to B tier, because then you're not able to just sit there and spam the Corpse Explosion. However, with the Blood Mist build, once you get that legendary, that might be different. So I'm kind of curious to see what they do. Again, final tier list for me would go like this, with a Necromancer, Sorceress being S tier as of now. Necromancer clearly in a huge lead, just watching everybody play it, all the end game content that gets cleared easily. People are able to kill the Butcher without any issue, even at a low level. It's kind of crazy that it's this overpowered for Necromancer. Again, Sorceress I think is really fun. The Hydra build is a build that I've always enjoyed, and I've always both in D2 and D3 enjoyed Hydra build. I almost said Typhoon, but that's just because Diablo 3, that's the set build you use. Anyway, these are just some of my thoughts. I'm going to do more of an in-depth review and show some gameplay here later. That might come out in a day or two. I don't know. I'm not really on top of making videos. Anyway, guys, if you checked out the tier list, thank you. And if you aren't already, subscribe and like. Thank you. Peace.